All right. So I saw this article. It's an article that I saw, and I've been saying this on my show. I saw this pop up in the algorithmic news feeds, and this is from thetakeout.com. Death to calorie counting. I'm going to read this because I agree with the message here. I've said this on my show before, but calories, not only are calories neutral information, they're not. Calories are disinformation. Calories are anti-information, right? You learn less, right? Your framework of understanding how food works is actually completely destroyed if you attempt to count calories, if you bother with looking at calories. Calories mean nothing. They are irrelevant. They have nothing to do with the human body. They are garbage. There's no such thing as calories. It's made up. It's a joke. And it's used to confuse people intentionally. And again, one of the main reasons why calories are so ubiquitous in America is because of sugar companies, sugary sodas, breakfast cereals and stuff. Big campaigns in the 1990s and early 2000s would be, talking about how Coca-Cola is, you can have one a day. It's only 200 calories, blah, 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 this and that. So anyway, calories are garbage. Anyone that counts calories, as far as I'm concerned, that's a mental illness. I've been there. So I'm a recovered calorie counter. And so anyone that that talks about calories in, calories out, that's fake information. Any doctor or medical specialist that talks about calorie deficits is an idiot. What matters is macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, etc. Calories mean nothing. And also it's impossible to count calories. So needless to say, I'm anti-calorie. But let's assume you could count calories. Let's assume it was possible to know what the calories were in your food and how that would affect your body. Even then, it would not be as relevant as macro and micronutrients. But again, when you add on the fact that nutrition labels have calories, that, again, no food has 0 calories, and yet there's so many nutrition labels that will have 0 calories on it. Why? Because they just manipulate the serving sizes, right? And you can round down. So if you have 4 calories in your food, you can round down to 0, right? And then have 38 trillion servings, right, on your label, et cetera, et cetera. So calories are negative information. It's disinformation. It's garbage. And people that go down the diet road and they start counting calories, they are just developing a mental illness that's extremely unhealthy. So that's my opinion. Let's read this article. This article is by Marnie Schur, who I don't know anything about. The stiff, waxen outer shell of a Snackwell's Devil's Food cookie cake is something I can recall with all 5 senses. The sound of it, as I wrapped my fingernails on its tough exterior, the smell as I broke it open, the spongy quality of its crumb beneath my fingers and then my teeth. This is some creative writing. The cookie approached a baseline of satisfaction, but never quite reached it. Throughout my childhood, this was my midday treat. While the revamped formulation claims to be better than ever, I know that I, for one, was always left wanting something far better with time, and with a subtle shift in how I fit food into my daily routine, I managed to disengage from the Snackwells of the world. So we got some creative writing here. Autobiographical. Something important to know about the massively profitable diet food industry is that it's built on the notion of the calorie as a meaningful marker of health and nutrition, which it's becoming rather clear it is not. In fact, across the last decade, much has been written to support the idea that calories are basically no more than vibes, ? Now again, calories, what is a calorie? A calorie is a consistent unit of metric of measuring burning food outside of the human body. So we're not even talking about energy that it provides the human body, right? Again, drinking Coca-Cola does not provide the same amount of energy as eating a salad. It just doesn't, right? So if you acknowledge that drinking Coca-Cola is not providing the same energy as a salad, then you are acknowledging that calories don't mean anything. It's just that you might not realize that. Why calorie counting doesn't work? Even if two people eat the same sweet potato or piece of meat cooked the same way, they will not get the same number of calories out of it. Quote, Rob Dunn wrote for Scientific American in 2013, there are many reasons for this, including gut size, the presence of certain digestive enzymes, and the overall difference in one person's metabolism versus another. So that dreaded Nabisco 100-calorie pack might not even provide a measly 100 calories worth of sustenance when you need to. It actually provides no sustenance whatsoever because it's just, it's garbage. Not that 100 calories is necessarily the right prescription for anyone's mid-afternoon snack in the first place. As the podcast maintenance phase explained in a recent episode, I don't know what this is, co-host blah 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 explains that the measurement drilled into us since the dawn of nutrition facts labeled 2,000 calories per day isn't indicative of how much fuel our body actually needs to run properly. Like, I would argue that almost nobody would fall into a position where 2,000 calories a day is any useful metric at all. Like, it's not useful in any capacity. Like, I'm willing to say that 0% of people on Earth benefit at all from any, food or any diet style that is based around a 2,000 calorie diet. I would say that 100% of the time that's going to deceive people and create mental illness. Because again, someone can be eating a 2,000 calorie diet and think, I'm following all the rules. Why am I gaining weight? And again, it's just going to cause cycles of mental illness. Calorie counting is a disease. It's a mental health issue. Quote, the FDA says that they didn't actually intend 2,000 calories per day to be a nutritional guideline, Gordon says. I don't really know who Gordon is. The co-host of this podcast, I don't know anything about. They said they designed it to be a popular education tool. That means that it was designed to be easy for consumers to understand what was in foods, but not necessarily meant to be like, here's the hard and fast information. Not be a recommendation for every individual that you need to eat 2,000 calories a day. Also, another thing, the percentages on these food labels make no sense whatsoever. The percentages, make no sense, right? Because if you factor in percentages at all, right, and if you look at every food that you eat, the nutrition label for every food that you eat, you will find that your percentage for sodium, which is, again, a lot of salty food and preservatives, and sugar is going to be probably 300, 400, 500%. And yet you're still getting 2,000 calories. How is that possible? Because the food you're eating is poisoned. You're eating poison. You're eating garbage. You're not eating food. What is food? Food provides fuel for your body. If something you put in your body is not providing fuel in any capacity, it's not food, it's poison. And that's fine. I drink poison. I had some alcohol yesterday. I consume poison sometimes, right? But again, how many people understand that the food they're eating every day is poison, right? If you drink a shot of whiskey in the morning and, if you day drink and then drink all day, people are going to say, oh, this person has a problem. But if you're eating poison every day, let's say you grab a Hot Pocket in the morning, let's say you're going through the drive-thru or getting a Starbucks biscuit or whatever, you're eating poison. That's poison. It provides no nutritional value, except it's more socially and societally acceptable people to be drug addicts in certain ways, but not drug addicts in other ways. So, once again, calories are garbage. Knowing what we know about self-reporting bias, we can also reasonably assume that the actual amount of calories consumed was higher than that, or at least unlikely to sit on the low end of those ranges. But as The Atlantic explains, the number 2,000 was chosen instead of initially proposed 2,350 because it was a tidy, round number and less likely to encourage overconsumption. That's another thing when it comes to food labels, right? Once again, servings and calories, you can round down on food labels. And so again, a jar of pickles does not have 0 calories. What is if there's 10 servings in a jar of pickles and each serving is 0 calories, what is 10 times 0? It's 0. You're telling me a jar of pickles has 0 calories? Of course you're not telling me that, but that's what the food label says. That's what the food label says. A food label, if you look at a jar of pickles, the food label will say the whole jar has 0 calories. What's 0 times 15 servings? It's 0. How does that make any fucking sense, right? So again, it's all lies. It's all made up. Now, nutrition labels, the only information you can glean from a nutrition label that is even remotely useful is macronutrients, micronutrients, and ingredients. But again, you have to know how to read it. It's like reading another language. It's like learning, if you're looking at something and it's written in Mandarin and you don't speak Mandarin or can't read Mandarin, that information is irrelevant to you. But if you can read Mandarin, then you can gain information from it. So a nutrition label, you need to really understand. I'm thinking about doing like a series on nutrition labels, to be honest with you, because nutrition labels, it really is. It's its own language. You have to, there's 18 different words for the same thing, right? They'll always try to deceive you. It's really a masterclass in deception the whole way through. Combine the shaky foundations of the calorie label with our body's uneven processing of those calories, and you have to ask yourself why. Why do we hold ourselves to numbers that don't care if we're depriving ourselves or not? For many people, the answer might be that in those raw numbers lies a sense of control, and I understand that. We put so much hope and prayer into the idea that with enough discipline, our bodies might eventually become efficient machines capable of processing exact input into exact output, a one-to-one relationship between behavior and results 100% of the time. But food isn't the only input our bodies are tasked with processing. It is asked to function despite varying levels of stress, sleep, pollution, all of which might require more than 100 calorie pack of carb chip. I don't even know what that is. But another thing is, again, what has no calories in it? Water. What significantly affects how your body processes food? Water, right? So water has no calories in it. And yet, if you drink water before eating a meal, you're going to process more of the nutritional value out of that meal. How does that make any sense? Water has 0 calories, right? Again, calories are deceptive. It is disinformation. It is not misinformation. Misinformation is like accidental, repeating of things that aren't verified to be true. Disinformation is information that is specifically designed by everyone involved to deceive you into doing something that is the exact opposite of what you think it is, right? That is disinformation. So anyway, seeing articles talking about how we need to abolish calories, I'm all in on that. So I wanted to share that with some people. I'm not the only one that has these perspectives here. But anyway, again, calories are useless. The only thing that matters is macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, etc. But once again, even if we look at macronutrients, let's take protein, for example. Not all proteins are the same, right? The amino acid profile of a protein can be different in food to food, right? And it's also, the way that protein will be digested by the body is different, right? So, example, a pork chop, pretty fucking horrible when it comes to actually like being able to process all that protein in your body, right? A lot of it is lost in digestion. A lot of it is lost in cooking. A lot of it is lost in the fact that, a lot of processed meat, horrible, low quality meat has really horrible amounts of amino acids in the proteins, right? Compared to beans, for example. Again, beans and rice has a complete amino acid profile, whereas like a pork chop has not even remotely close to that, right? But people will think, oh, a pork chop's got 22 grams of protein per X amount of calories, therefore it's more healthy. It's not. You're being lied to. You're an idiot, right? So again, calories are deceptive information. Whatever you think about calories, I want you to get it out of your mind. Like, that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob is the waiter or whatever for Squidward's fancy restaurant, right? And then, got to empty your mind and replace it with fine dining and breathing, right? I want you to empty your mind of everything you know about calories and replace it with this fucking video, because guess what? I've probably read more books on this than you have. But always, of course, you got to fact check what I say, because I could be crazy. It's totally possible. You never know when someone you're listening to on the internet is crazy, right? So if that is the case, you got to make sure I'm not crazy, fact check your shit, and of course, do your own research. But also I'm correct. Anyway, abolish calories, that's all.